Pokemon Diamond and Pearl is one of the flagship games introduced in the Nintendo DS handheld system. Being the first mainline game on the DS, Diamond and Pearl introduced a number of new features that would become mainstays in the franchise to this day, 15 years later. With E3 right around the corner, and news on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl imminent, I wanted to talk today about 5 things I hope to see in the remakes. With current news on how different the games will be compared to the originals being up in the air still, the first point I wanted to make was on an expanded Pokedex compared to the originals. I'm not going to be unrealistic and say I'm hoping for a full national dex being available, as that is almost certainly not going to happen. However, I would greatly appreciate something like the Platinum Dex being available for the main story rather than the original. Something the originals got a lot of criticism on is how limiting the Pokedex seemed to the main story, the most prominent point being that there are only 2 Fire Pokemon evolution lines available in the main story, one line being the actual starters. Gen 4 introduced numerous new evolutions off of older Pokemon in the series, such as the Eevee, Porygon, and Ralts lines. These Pokemon would not be available until post-game, however, in Diamond and Pearl. Platinum rectifies this issue and allows a much more expanded Pokedex with the introduced evolutions available for the most part before post-game, giving a much more added variety to your roster. With the Platinum Dex being the main story dex, your team could go from looking like this to something like this. I don't see this feature get brought up much, but I'm personally really excited for the Underground system that was introduced in the originals. For those unfamiliar, the Underground was a game mode that was available basically any time after getting in the Eterna City. This game mode allowed for features like excavating minigames to procure rare items, making a secret base and playing Capture the Flag, and growing ores underground to sell to vendors for goods. As a kid, I spent hours in the Underground farming items and growing ores, but I couldn't really enjoy the multiplayer functions much due to my lack of friends. However, we're in an era of easy online play, and with the Switch and Nintendo Online, I can see the Underground being revamped with a more accessible multiplayer via a Wi-Fi. I'm hoping for new activities and other mechanics being introduced to the Underground, on top of the old ones making a return. A recent trend for remakes of games that Pokemon seems to be doing is these episode contents in the post-game. Starting with the Delta episode, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we're given an extra story right out of post-game that heavily expands on the lore and gives access to Rayquaza and the mythical Pokemon Deoxys for the first time outside of Mystery Gift events. We would see this trend continue in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, where fans are treated to a nostalgic comeback of fighting every single main villain in the franchise's then current history, and receiving some incredible rewards to boot. Hopefully, we see this trend continue in BDSP for further endgame content. Personally, I think it would be really cool to have some kind of Arceus episode for the game, which will not only allow us to get our hands on Arceus, but have the story tie into the Legends of Arceus that will be released shortly afterwards. With so much lore surrounded around Arceus in the old games, I think there's a lot of potential in centering an episode around it. But who knows, maybe that will all be focused on the actual Legends game coming out in January. This one is a pretty boring point, but I really do hope this transition is over. As the franchise has evolved over the past 15 years, we have received numerous quality of life improvements to the base game that I hope to still see in this remake. This goes from simple stuff like repels being able to be reapplied as soon as they run out, to something more big like TMs being reusable. As a current heavily competitive player in Pokemon, I'm really hoping for things like bottle caps, ability capsules, and new competitive items to make a return to the series. I personally love the effort they put into the competitive side of Sword and Shield, making it easier for anyone to get into the competitive scene. Examples would be rental codes, ease of access with items and Pokemon through raids, and further customization of stats through hyper training and ability patches. Also, something like the Shiny Charm returning would be neat as well, as I know many players spend their post-game now hunting shinies. As for other things, I wouldn't be opposed to the HMs not being necessary as moves like past games, as I know some people aren't comfortable having God in their party at all times, and having the PC accessible at all times was a great mechanic in my opinion. I know a lot of people are worried about BDSP being too faithful of a remake, to the point of it being more of a remaster, and I think bringing back all these mentioned mechanics to the game would be a great step to making BDSP more of a modern remake. And now for the last point. None of these are actually ordered, but this might be a best for last kind of thing. Please, please, please bring the Battle Frontier back in all of its glory. With Pokemon Platinum, we were introduced to an expanded Battle Frontier with 4 more facilities, each with their own unique rule sets. These rule sets went from renting your entire team and exchanging them as you go in the Battle Factory, to spinning a roulette to decide battle conditions in the arcade. These facilities give a fun spin to conventional battles and offered a fairly decent level of difficulty for most players. I know many older fans are clamoring for a higher difficulty level in games, and I feel the Frontier is the perfect answer to this, as it provides a reasonable challenge in the post-game, without interfering with the main story where most of the casual younger audience get their enjoyment from. We haven't really seen anything like the Battle Frontier since Heart Gold Soul Silver carrying over the Platinum Frontier, and to be honest, the latest additions such as the Battle Tree and Tower have been frankly pretty boring, with the Tree only having brief cameo battles with older characters, and the Tower really having nothing except a new Leon skin. I know as a kid I struggled with beating the facilities as I had less of an understanding on battle mechanics, so I'm eager to try these out again in a new revamped game with my current knowledge. We already have some hints that this game will have some Platinum features added in, and I'm really crossing my fingers for this to be one of them. And that's all 5 things I'm hoping to see in the Diamond and Pearl remakes. As a longtime Pokemon fan, and having spent a large amount of my childhood playing Gen 4, I'm really hoping these remakes do the games justice. So we'll see in a few days if anything comes out for E3. There are plenty of other things I would like to see in the remakes, but these are the ones I thought of the most, and we're also closer to being realistic. If you have any other ideas of what you would like to see, or something to expand on my own list, let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please leave a like and sub, it really helps us out. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day!